Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's mini detour live from MAG with Jessica Gasbarre. This is a virtual program in this year's M&T Bank Clothesline Online Festival. This festival has been the Memorial Art Gallery's largest fundraiser for more than 60 years. And although we've had to go virtual this year, our goals are still the same. We want to have fun with you guys, highlight and support the arts and our artists. So thank you all for joining us today. I just want to mention a few brief housekeeping items before I pass it off to Jessica for her mini detour today. We do have a live captioner with us today, so if you would like to see captions, you can click the closed captioning CC button at the bottom of your screen. During today's detour, there will be time to answer any questions that you've submitted for Jessica, so feel free to submit those questions at any time by clicking the Q&A button that's also at the bottom of your screen. We can ask Jessica those questions throughout her tour today. And today is going to be really interactive. We will have poll questions that we will be launching, and there's no right answer for them, but we wanted to provide a fun way for you guys to feel like you're still engaging. Usually we have a lot of fun memes with Jessica on her detours in person, so we thought this would be a fun virtual way to still feel like we're getting in touch with you guys. Jessica will be giving a mini detour that just gives a taste of her usual detours that she does at the museum. And we'll be sharing a link at the end of today's webinar where you can sign up for other things and other detours that she's planned. And at the end of today's webinar, your browser will take you to a short survey about today's detour. So let us know what you think. So now I'm just going to introduce Jessica real quick. She is the creator of the Memorial Art Gallery's monthly detour program, and she's our engagement manager and uses her love of art, creativity, and relationship building and education in an effort to expose the community to our collection at MAG. The idea for the detour program at MAG was born after she attended a museum hack boot camp in New York City, where she learned how to use insider stories and fun activities in unconventional museum tours. And today's tour is, of course, quite unconventional since it's virtual. Her enthusiasm and passion and the new programs that she has spearheaded have exposed a wonderful new audience to the MAG. So Jessica, I am going to pass it off to you now, and I will be talking to you through your headphones to let you know when I'm launching poll questions during your detour today. And Jessica, I think we can't hear you right now. Can we double check?
Oh my gosh, no, I wasn't talking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you're good to go now.
I feel like I'm a newscaster. Like, hi everyone, welcome. So today's detour, it's a mini detour. It's only 30 minutes, but essentially I'm going to be telling you how to make it seem like you know what you're talking about when you visit an art museum. So we're going to be focusing on three things: color, texture, and composition. And the reason why I picked these three things, it's because you don't need a degree in art history. You don't need to be an artist to see them, appreciate them, figure out what they are. So here we are walking into the museum. And the very first thing that you might notice is this giant fire truck engine red wall. And then you see in the center of the wall, there is this little tiny work of art. And I feel like by putting it in the dead center, you know, it really draws your attention towards it. So art is often political, sometimes it's uncomfortable. And I feel like the most common thing that I hear people say is, oh, this is weird, I don't understand it, I'm gonna leave, art's not for me. And one thing that's always good is to ask yourself why. Like, why is this uncomfortable? Why do I feel this way? Why do I want to leave? So really, art's whole purpose is essentially to kind of broaden your horizons, to kind of challenge your perception, change your perspective, just to get you to think about things differently. So one way that artists do that is with color. So this was installed by our wonderful curator, Lauren Tagliaferro. She is really thoughtful and brilliant, and I feel like the bright red wall totally changes the story behind this piece. One thing I also like to do when I visit an art museum is ask myself questions like, how would this work of art by Zoe Leonard, which is, it's a political piece, it's a controversial piece, but how would it look different if the walls were light gray or a pale yellow or a bright blue or a light pink? But I feel like because it's red, it really like captures your attention. You want to know more. Red is also the color of passion, anger. It is often used in politics. Which one? Democrats, Republicans? One of them is red. And often protest signs are in red. So color is one of the things we're going to focus on today. We're not going to talk about this piece just because it is really political and this is being recorded, and I don't want to get fired. But this is a really great piece. So later during your free time, or you can look it up online, it's Zoe Leonard, I Want a President. So walking in the museum, you know, there's a lot of works of art, and not every work of art is going to speak to you, and that's totally fine. But one work of art that speaks to me is this piece over here by this artist named Elizabeth Lyons. And I believe we have a poll question for this, right, Bella?
Yes, we do. And I will launch that poll question now for our viewers. So please answer.
So is this piece an abstract vase, or is it the female reproductive organs?
And just a reminder, there's no right answer to these poll questions. They're just a fun way to engage with you guys. So there's no wrong answer. Don't feel bad about any answer that you pick.
So for this piece, I wanted to focus on texture because, you know, we have this really beautiful, delicate glass sculpture in the front, and it's paired with this utilitarian metal backdrop that I feel like you would see in some kind of garage or like a workbench space. I'm not like a handy person, so I don't know where you would see this piece of metal. Not in my house, but somewhere. Anyway, so I really like the contrast of the glass with this metal. And the thing, wait, Bella, let me know when we're done with the poll.
I'll end it now. We have our results.
Perfect. Okay, what are the results of the poll?
So 57% of our crowd said it's female organs, not an abstract vase.
57% female organs. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, it could look like an abstract vase, but I just love how she made the female organs. You know, she put beautiful, delicate flowers on them. She used glass, which is a delicate, fragile material, but also glass can cut you, much like a scorned woman can. So I thought that was like a fun play. I mean, I'm sure that, you know, her intentions were obviously a lot more intellectual, but just from an accessible point of view, that's why I really like this piece. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep going. Texture. So the third thing, right? Color, texture, composition. And I wanted to talk about this work of art by Lily Martin Spencer. This is one of our most favorite works of art that we have in the museum. And I believe we have another poll for this. Why is she crying? Is it because she hates cooking? Or is it because she's vegan and because we're in quarantine, she hasn't been able to tell anyone in 10 minutes?
The poll has been launched for our viewers. So again, be sure to vote. Does she hate cooking or is she vegan? Who knows? We'll find out at the end of the poll.
And the reason why I love this work of art, again, just like even if I didn't know anything about art history, is because it looks like you can literally just stick your hand into the frame, which I won't because we have to stay an arm's length away from the art at all times, and just grab one of the peaches. And I feel like if you get close enough, which again, arm's length away, you can see the fuzz on the peach. You can see like the soft texture of the peaches, and even like the grapes. Like there's that one mushy grape in the front. She just does such a great job of capturing the fruit. And then, I mean, apart from the fruit is like everything else happening in the painting. You know, we have this woman and she's cutting onions and she's crying. And why is she crying? Is it because, you know, she just killed a chicken? Is it because she's a vegan? She can't tell anyone? Is it because she hates cooking and she's forced to this life in the kitchen? And there's just so much going on in the painting. And when we look at, you know, the backdrop of the painting, we see this wall and it's kind of crumbling. But then closer, she has this silver knife with an ivory hilt. So like if a crumbling wall is poverty, but then the ivory hilt is wealth. She has these silver hoop earrings, which is also like a sign of wealth. But then she has these needles in the sleeve of her dress, which signifies more housework. Also looking at her clothes, she's wearing a blue dress, and historically blue is associated with wealth, because in order to get the color blue, people had to go into the mountains of the Middle East and get this stone called lapis lazuli and crush it up. It was like a big to do. But then she also has this little bruise here on her arm. So there's just a lot going on in this piece. And really, just by looking, just by taking a closer look and a deeper look, you can kind of start to uncover what's going on. You can build your own narrative of what's happening in the piece. And really, you can just appreciate all the details, you know, the feathers of the chicken, the sheen on the onion. Yeah,
So
Bella,
our
what are those poll
audience,
results? Ooh,
they voted that she hates cooking. That is the popular vote.
She hates cooking. Yeah, I feel like, right, cooking is like 2 hours of prep and work, and then you eat it in 10 minutes, and I get it.
Jessica, question for you.
Yes, Bella.
Do you know what the story is behind her sad expression? Is that a top secret?
I don't know what the story is. So thanks for asking about it. The artist Lily Martin Spencer had a pretty difficult life. I mean, it was the 1800s, so really everyone had a difficult life. But Lily Martin Spencer, she was a female. She was trying to make it as a female artist in the mid 1800s. She gave birth to 13 kids.
Oh my gosh.
But right, crazy, but only 7 of them survived. And it's just crazy, like back then, you know, that's life. You just keep going and move on, and you don't have time to, you know, be stressed about it or mourn your losses. You just have to like get back in the kitchen and continue living. Also, her husband, it was really cool. Like, her husband took care of the family, and she was the primary breadwinner. But again, she was trying to make it as an artist, which has always been difficult. So she's probably crying because, you know, the weight of the world is on her shoulders, and she's a woman. So instead of just succumbing to her grief and sadness, she has to just plug on.
Tough times.
Tough times. Tough times. Okay, so we are going to go to our next piece. Which is this work of art by Thomas Dewing. So this work of art is great, but really the thing that I like most about this work of art is the frame. So this is the original frame that Thomas Dewing like hand selected for this work of art. And there's actually there's so much detail in it. There's so much history of framing. And I feel like frames very often get overlooked because people are so focused on the painting, which makes sense. But I recently learned that one of the reasons why you see so many gold frames in art is because before electricity, the sun would reflect off of the gold and bring a little more light to your painting so you could enjoy it for a little bit longer. So in terms of color, you know, we have this beautiful gold frame, and because of the shape of the frame and the angles, it really kind of centers you in. So you look at this woman in this, I don't even know what color, like mustard dress. Not good for my skin tone, but it looks good on her. And she's sitting there with a book, but she's not reading the book. And this kind of reminds me of those times when, you know, you're reading a book and you're like 50 or so pages in, and you actually really hate where the story is going, but you've already dedicated 50 pages to reading this. So what do? Do you give up? Do you pick another book? Do you suffer through it? And that kind of looks like what's happening with her right now. You know, she's deciding like, wow, this is really crappy narrative, but I don't know what to do. So in terms of the book she's reading, another poll question, do you think she's reading Nicholas Sparks's The Notebook, or do you think she's reading Karl Marx's Das Kapital?
We've launched this poll question. Be sure to vote. What do you think she's reading?
What do you think she's reading? There is no in between.
Right. There's no, you have to pick one or the other. And I totally relate. Those, you know, first few pages of a narrative that are so hard to get through. I really wonder sometimes, I've put down so many books where I'm just like, the beginning is so boring. How do people
Right.
think it's good?
But then Bella, on the reverse end, think about how many books that you finished that you were like, I wish I gave that up 6 hours ago because it's terrible.
Right.
Hopefully not that many. So a really popular theme in art is women reading. So the printing press was invented, the mid 1400s ish. What is time? We're in a pandemic. So after the printing press, books were so much more accessible to people, but really the only people that had true access to them were the wealthy because they could afford them and also because they had free time to read. So along that time, men were really interested in this idea of what women do with their free time because, like, why is a woman taking time to read when she should be in the kitchen cooking or like rearing our children? So for a while, for like a couple hundred years, there were like so many paintings of women reading like this. I don't know if it's creepy, but just like this fascination of like, ooh, here's a private moment. Let me paint the intimacy of it. And then men were like, wait, women are educating themselves. They're all going to be anarchists. They're going to rise up against us. They're not going to make us sandwiches anymore. What are we going to do? So then women's education was, shunned for a really long time. But now I recently heard that more women in America have college degrees than men. So
Wow.
yay us.
Yay, women.
Bella, what are the yay women, yay reading. What are the results of that poll?
So it was a little bit split. 60% of
Ooh.
our audience says she's definitely reading The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. And
60% say The Notebook.
Yeah, and 40% say Das Kapital by Karl Marx.
Yeah, we'll never know, I guess.
We'll never know.
Actually, maybe she is reading The Notebook and that's why she's so bored. Because she's like, what? He wrote her letters she waited for him for 7 years.
Right. So unrealistic.
So he built her a house, please.
Right.
So we are going to keep going.
Jessica, is this your first virtual tour that you've given like this?
Yes, it is. It is. It's kind of awkward, to be honest, because there's no one else. It's just me and Alyssa holding the camera. But it's great. Okay, so we're gonna talk about this George Condo painting, and we're gonna launch another poll. Do you love it? Do you hate it?
I've launched the poll, so please, again, how does this painting make you feel? People have strong opinions on this one, I've heard.
Yes, so I feel like, right, people either love this piece or they hate it. There's no like apathy about it. And I think that's kind of like the measure of success in the art world. Artists want people to leave with some kind of feeling. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time I see this painting, I feel differently about it. So this is by this super famous artist, George Condo. He did some album covers for Kanye West. I think he like hand painted I think it's pretty tacky, a purse for Kim Kardashian that was like $1 million. He dated one of the Olsen twins. So he's like pretty prevalent in pop culture. And in 2010, he did a whole series of clown paintings. There was like Skinny Jim and Billy Bob. And then this was the last painting of the series. And this is just called The Clown. And it's on the surface, it's weird. Why are there so many cheeks and mouths and teeth? The teeth thing, a lot of people have nightmares about their teeth falling out. And then he has a cigarette in his ear, and then the hands behind his, I guess, shoulders. So during 2010, George Condo actually went through a divorce from his wife. So it's believed that these hands could possibly be her hands and she's like letting go of him. He also tried to quit smoking that year, which could be the cigarette. So it's believed that this is actually a self-portrait, like a loose self-portrait of George Condo, because he felt like a clown. He felt like a failure. And clowns are really interesting because psychologically, humans just naturally don't like them. And the reason why is because they look really peculiar. Like when you see clowns, like your typical clown at like a kid's birthday party, which they should never ever be at kids' birthday parties. But right, they have like white faces and like dark eyes and red lips. And the reason why we naturally don't like them is because they kind of look like corpses. So they're just creepy. And then also the idea of them looking like corpses was kind of helped by, in the late 70s, the serial killer who dressed up as a clown, John Gacy. He kind of like perpetuated that fear. And then in the 80s, when Stephen King wrote It, he really like solidified that fear in the minds of Americans that clowns are creepy and weird. So, I mean, as like disturbing as the face is, Condo did take a lot from the Dutch masters, like with the big white collar, the messy gray hair. You know, he's a white guy with blue eyes. But then the color of this, I really love the colors, right? They're like peaceful, tranquil pastel colors, and it kind of adds a little element of like whimsy to this disturbing piece.
Jessica, do you love this piece or do you hate this piece, or has that changed for you?
I think it really just depends on the day. You know, what do you think, Bella?
I personally did not like this piece very much when I first joined the MAG team, and I like it a lot more now that I know more of the story, and have gotten to know the piece on a more intimate level. But I'm afraid of clowns as well.
Of course,
so
yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. One person in the audience says he looks like an egg, which I definitely agree with.
Oh my gosh, it's so eggy. Yeah.
He's like an Easter egg. But I love what you mentioned about the colors, and I think the background's really interesting too, how it's really dark on the one side, and kind of shifts to a lighter, nice blue color.
And Bella, to your point, I feel like it's dark on this side with the cigarette, and like his hair is messier on this side, and his eye is like so much more disgusting on this side, right? It like looks like it's gonna pop out of the socket.
Right. And I love those small eyes on his forehead too. The
small eyes on his forehead are hilarious.
And we do have our poll results as well.
Oh yes. What are our poll results?
57% love this painting, actually. Wow. And only 43% of the crowd today hates it.
Oh my gosh, we got a good crowd.
We got a good crowd.
So talking about color again, we have this work by this artist, Yayoi Kusama. And I think we have another poll, Bella, correct?
We do, and I will launch it right now.
Right, does this work burn your retinas, or do you think it's super interesting?
Let us know how this sculpture makes you feel.
Let us know. So again, without knowing anything about art, you've probably seen this woman before. This is Venus de Milo, or Venus de Milo, depending on how you choose to pronounce it. It was an antiquated sculpture that was found, and when they found her, her arms were missing and no one knew why. And I feel like without the arms, she's just more interesting, right? Because there's like the mystery of what happened to her arms, what pose was she doing? Like her face looks, you know, pretty peaceful to have lost arms. Anyway, so Kusama took Venus and she completely transformed the narrative with these colors. Sorry, I'm talking so slow because I'm looking at it. Hurting my eyes. So she painted the whole thing this really bright electric lime green. And then she did the hot pink over it. And she did it in a pattern called an infinity net pattern. So essentially, Yayoi Kusama is obsessed with polka dots. Ever since she was little, she would play by this river. And she just would cover everything in polka dots because she believed that polka dots were synonymous with the sun and they were the symbol of infinity. And so then like from polka dots, she came up with this infinity net pattern, and it's just like a continuous pattern over and over and over again. And you know, if you look at it for long enough, you can't really tell like where the statue ends and where the background begins. Everything kind of just like melds together. So I wanted to talk about this piece just because of the color aspect. You know, the original Venus de Milo, of course, now it's white, but originally, it, you know, it's believed that it wasn't color, but paints on marble fade over time. So, you know, I just wonder, like, how would this piece be different if she had like a regular skin color that wasn't bright pink or bright green? And I feel like it wouldn't be as fun. I feel like the colors make it so much more interesting because, right, it either like burns your retinas or you love it. You know, maybe there's like a little mixture of both. But also the pink and green together, I feel like make it so much, it's just like a fun work of art. And I feel like, again, if she used like gray and white or even black and white, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I think it's really interesting. I always forget, and I just remembered because you mentioned it when you were talking about it, but I forget that she used her infinity net pattern to create this piece. When I look at it, I think, oh, she painted everything hot pink, and then she put lime green polka dots all over it. Not she painted it green first and then put the hot pink in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we do have our poll results.
Ooh, tell us those poll results.
71% of our crowd says so interesting, for the sculpture being interesting to look at, and only 29% says that it hurts their eyes. So that's pretty good.
Good. We have a lot of people with eyes that are better than mine. So then right across from Kusama's Venus, we have this beautiful work of art by Mickalene Thomas. I love this painting so much because I feel like I can just imagine, right? Because all I can do is imagine. I'm obviously not allowed to touch it. But I feel like I can just imagine like how those shiny rhinestones feel under my fingertips. And also like the beautiful lush texture of her skin. And I just want to touch this so badly, but I never have, and I never will. So it's no secret that women, specifically women of color, specifically Black women, are super underrepresented in the art world. So this is by an artist named Mickalene Thomas, and she really wants to change that narrative. She uses all of these different colors, textures, patterns to bring dimension to the work. And I really love this piece because, right, even if you don't know anything about art, I feel like your eyes just gravitate towards it because it's so bright and fun and shiny, and there's so many different textures and so many different colors and patterns, and there's just so much going on. And also her pose is so like I'm not going to take crap from anyone. Also, look at how beautiful these beads are on my shoulder. So it's just a really fun piece that, you know, you don't have to know Mickalene Thomas's history, you don't have to know the history of art to just see it and appreciate it. Oh shoot, Bella, we have a poll for this one too.
This is our last poll question of our mini detour today.
Poll question.
So everyone, make sure you vote. And this, I'm going to launch the poll question now. So is Mickalene Thomas's work, is it so fun and different, or does it make you want to touch it, but you won't because ... rules?
So Mickalene Thomas, I love all of her work just because she really likes to play on female sexuality, gender roles, women's roles, and everything is just so modern and different.
It's a great piece. I love this piece. And this piece used to be in the entrance to our gallery spaces, right?
Yes, and I think we moved it, and I don't know, but I feel like so many times I would be in the entryway and I would see like kids running up to it and almost touching it. I feel like maybe that's why we moved it back and raised it up a little bit.
Fair.
But yeah, it is such a stunning piece.
It is great. I would love to touch it too, but I won't.
Yeah,
obviously. Right. I never would.
Obviously. No.
Well, I just ended the poll and we have our results for this last question. 63% of our audience today says that this work is so fun and different, and 38% say that they want to touch it, but they won't because they're also good rule followers, like us.
Wow, our audience has so much self-control.
I know.
So I'll just say one more thing about this piece. The other reason why I wanted to talk about this piece for our mini detour is because it has everything. It has color, it has texture, and the composition is wonderful. You know, it's a beautiful woman. So I think that's everything that I have.
That's great. Jessica, thank you so much for giving us a mini detour today. I feel so special to have been able to go through the museum with you, even though it's just through my computer screen.
Thanks, Bella. I feel really special to be back in the museum. You know, it's nice. It feels almost like things are normal again. Yeah.
Well, a question for you.
Yeah.
So this was just like a mini virtual detour, and I know that the museum is now starting to reopen and we're starting to let people back in. If you haven't visited the museum, make sure you stop by. Are you starting to do in-person detours at all, or what's coming up next for you?
Yes, thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So I am starting to do in-person detours again. I had my first one last week. It was super fun. So I have 2 virtual ones coming up. One is on Tuesday, September 29th. It's with David Zyla, Stylist to the Stars. And we're going to be talking about fashion in the art world and how fashion has changed, how women has changed, how women bought, female figures, like body types have come in and out of style. Like that's messed up. So we're going to be talking about that. That should be a lot of fun. And then on October 8th, we are doing a detour with our friend T from Evolution Pilates. She did a virtual detour with us back in July, and we are going to be talking about mindfulness and breathing. We're going to go through a chakra chart of different colors, and she's basically just going to help us breathe our way into relaxation because these are really weird, stressful times. And then I'm currently working with some people on more in-person detours. So stay tuned. But also, if you have any ideas, let me know.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite theme that you enjoy doing detours for?
So I really like doing women in art just because I feel like, for hundreds and hundreds of years, women have been overlooked in the art world. And I also really love anytime we do anything with Alex, the archaeologist. Dr. Alexander Smith, he's a professor at Brockport and he's an archaeologist. And he just knows so much. We play this game, I like to call it rapid fire round, where I just point to an ancient object and then he just talks about it and shares all of these really crazy facts. So those are my favorites, but also really just anytime we have a group of people that's excited to be at MAG and excited to learn and have questions, it's always a good time.
And I'm sure you also love Harry Potter themed
tours. Oh my gosh.
Whenever you can. Right? Yeah. I just had to throw that out there. We do Harry Potter stuff at MAG.
Wait, don't I have a Harry Potter pen? Oh yeah, you have a Harry Potter pen. Yeah, I'm obsessed with Harry Potter, and I've been really lucky because I've gotten to do several Harry Potter themed tours, and those are a lot of fun because the people that come are hardcore Harry Potter fans, and it's also really fun for me to try and pick and choose different works of art and then find a way to connect them back to the Potter series.
That's awesome. Well, Jessica, thank you again for the detour today. I am just going to share my screen so that our audience today knows where to find out more and where to find upcoming detours that Jessica, like she mentioned, is going to be giving both virtually and some in person. So you can keep an eye out on our detour page on our website. This is our second to last day of our Clothesline Online Festival. So be sure to check out what else we have tomorrow, and you can shop with our 2020 Clothesline artists by visiting our Clothesline Hub. We also will still have our $15 off Clothesline special membership deal throughout the end of tomorrow. So be sure to renew your membership, purchase a new membership, or get a gift membership. The holiday season is coming up, so it's a great time, especially because we have our Warhol exhibitions, which will be opening up this fall in October, and that will be in all of our museum spaces and will be super awesome. So it's a great time to become a member. You can also find our clothesline t-shirt on there, and sales for that will end at midnight tomorrow. So if you haven't been able to place your order yet, be sure to do that. And we also have a 1-to-1 matching gift challenge from the M&T Bank in honor of our clothesline online festival. So there's lots of fun stuff on our website. We also have a Visitor's Choice Merit Award, and the poll for that will close tomorrow morning. So be sure to vote for your favorite 2020 clothesline artist, and we'll announce our Merit Award winners tomorrow. We will be sharing a recording of today's webinar, so if you'd like to go on our mini detour one more time, or if you know anybody who couldn't make it today, that link will be available later on. Jessica, thank you again so much. Thank you all for joining us today, and I hope to see some of you tomorrow at tomorrow's events. Bye everyone. Bye Jessica.
Bye.